My guest today on the Art and Spirituality Show is American comedian, host, improviser, and coach, Mr. Dan Feist. A long time ago, Dan moved all the way from America, all the way over to Spain, and set up his life. He first started off being a teacher, then he discovered stand up comedy, and then he went on to host and perform with the longest running stand up comedy group in English for 9 seasons. Today I'm going to talk to Dan about his new ventures. El Inglés es rock and roll. This is the Art and Spirituality Show. I'm Dominic Anglim. Let's talk.
Online, on the iOS and Android, on your mobile phones. Great speakers conversation around the globe. This is Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
Relax Radio. Welcome to the Art and Spirituality Show. And what a show we've got lined up for you today. We're joined today via phone by Mr. Dan Feist. Dan, you're on air with us.
Hi, Dom. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Dan, thanks for joining us, man. Great to talk
Yeah,
to you
no
on
problem.
here.
Yeah, I do have to say one thing before we begin. Today I have a little bit of an allergy issue and I might have to cough. So I'll try and keep the mic muted if I do cough, but please bear with me.
That's totally fine, Dan. Thanks for telling
Yeah.
us that. And obviously we would have feared the worst given the times that we're in. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine otherwise. Don't worry about it.
That's good
Don't
to
worry
hear.
about it.
That's good to hear. What a life! What a life you've led. I gave you a brief summary there in my 45-second intro.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I look back and it doesn't seem like it's all been me, to be honest.
Yeah. What?
There's so many things in so many different fields, and so go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, what prompted the move in the very first place? Why Spain? Because I know that you did study Spanish, right?
Yeah, that's right. Of course, in middle schools in the United States, there's a mandatory elective to do language at least 1 year, and it just kept being easy for me, an
Yeah.
easy A every year,
Nice.
and so I just kept taking it,
Yeah.
and I got to university, and I noticed that my aunts and uncles who had studied abroad had the best time of their lives, so I knew I had to do that. And since I was already working on my Spanish, I decided Spain.
Nice.
That was January 2000. I came for a semester and really got introduced to the country.
And the rest is history. But I suppose how long did you spend over here, over there, I should say? I keep saying over here because, of course, I used to live in Spain. But we're not. I'm in London. I'm in London now. You're in Spain, so get the
Right.
geography correct there. But yeah, how long did you spend the first time that you were there?
It was just 5 months. It was a
Nice.
semester at a little tiny school, and it was really great because the teachers were young and they enjoyed teaching people who wanted to learn, and they enjoyed spending their free time with us. So we had like a social experience as well. It was really good, really good. And then I
Nice.
had to go back to the U.S. to finish my degree.
Yeah.
And in early 2002, I started making my moves to try and to stay in Spain permanently, which of course was more difficult than I expected because of my U.S. privilege. You know.
Of course. It's always that difficult thing, isn't it, to when you're from the US to somehow get the
Well,
visa to work in Europe.
Right. Well, and the other thing of me being just arrogant about it, thinking I'm American, of course I'm going to get my papers. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And that's not the case. There's no beneficial treatment for you if you have a U.S. passport in any other country, right? It's kind of just my own me being naive, I guess. It's just,
Yeah.
I look back and I think how stupid it was for me to to believe that. But anyway,
Yeah, but hey, I mean, when you're young, you think these things, and then you go out into the world and you get the baptism of fire, so to speak, and you're like, oh yeah, hang on, that's. I remember having something similar, trying to get into a different country from France and not having my passport with me, and then just going, no, like you don't
right.
have your passport, and I was like, I'm Irish, can't I go in? And they're like, no, no. So I can totally
Exactly.
relate to that.
Yeah,
But
exactly. It's my same situation.
but let's go back in time a little bit. And where did you actually grow up in the States?
All right. I grew up between Wisconsin and Minnesota, mostly in Wisconsin, on the Mississippi River Valley,
Oh, lovely.
far up in the north, on the very north end of the Mississippi River. About 6 hours by car from Canada, near the Great Lakes region.
Yeah.
Um, but really, I identify a lot with growing up in a river valley, having tons of summer activities to do. So biking and hiking and boating and water skiing and everything else that you get to do when you have so much water around you, fishing, swimming, and all these other things.
Oh,
And
wow.
so,
Amazing. That sounds beautiful.
yeah, oh yes. And then in the winter, though, it's below zero, below freezing
Yeah.
for maybe 3 months at a time, and so we have to adapt our outdoorsy attitude to the winter. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of skiing, snowmobiling, and ice skating, and even ice fishing, which I think is one of the most ridiculous hobbies I can think of.
Have
As
you
you go sit out, you sit in the middle of a lake where it's freezing cold, and you drill a hole in the ice, and then you wait for 2 hours while while you're fishing. Doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me.
I've seen those. I've seen those. They have those outdoor sheds, right? And you sit in the shed.
Yeah, yeah. But nowadays, they're nice little excuse me, they're nice little cottages. A lot of people have heating, satellite dish, the whole 9 yards. They got it all out there,
They've
and
taken it
so
to
that's a
another
little
level.
bit more. Yeah, no, right? There's they instead of going to the campgrounds, they go put it out in the middle of a lake
That
and
sounds
hope the ice is strong.
that sounds fun though, I have to say. That sounds like a lot of fun. Just the idea of
Well,
being on a lake in a house sounds kind of cool.
yeah, no, definitely. If you have a big setup where you do have something like a regular heater, then it's a different experience. But a lot of my friends, when we were younger, they would just go out and set up like 4 tippy poles, these tippy rods,
Yeah, yeah.
and then just walk around the lake watching to see if one of the flags go up. And that for me was not fun ever, to be honest.
That sounds like a regular winter pastime. So
Yeah, right. So I really love that area of the country. In Wisconsin, we're known for beef and cheese and beer, and those
nice,
things are also things that I I still have a passion for.
nice,
Um,
nice.
and yeah, that's that.
That's that. That's that. So do you go back there much?
Yeah, well, we try and before my son was born, I was trying to go back every 18 months or so. And since he's been born, we try and go every year at least because I've got a big family. I've got 14 aunts and uncles and
Wow,
35 cousins.
wow.
And yeah, and we got a lot of family stuff going on. And so it's nice for them to know who he is and for him to know who they are.
Definitely, definitely. And it must be so nice for you to go back as well and just spend some time there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an odd feeling having been away for so long. There are some things that have changed quite a bit and don't look familiar, and then there are other things that haven't changed at all, and you think, why haven't they changed that?
That mountain is
That
still the
design
same.
style isn't right. Well, or that design, that logo, that store name, whatever, is so
Yeah.
20th century. It hasn't changed. But I do enjoy going back and getting like bar food especially, and and also hanging out with friends and family.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you've been out in Spain now for is it nearly 20 years then?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's
Well, I
amazing.
mean, depending on when you count when I moved here, when when I first had the plan, when I first came and got thrown out of the country, or when I finally came and got married, or after getting married when I finally got my papers. I'm not really sure what the original starting date is, but yeah, this century I've spent it all here in Madrid, so above all in Madrid. So
I suppose it's been, yeah, but I suppose it's been like another chapter in your life. You went over initially to do your studies, and then I suppose you fell in love with it, and I suppose you also met your wife there as well. So it just became,
yes,
you know,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that there's something. Um, how can I say it? It's yeah, it was kind of like a new chapter. I mean, things just kind of fell into place though. I had
yeah,
the willingness to move abroad. I had put a lot of effort into learning Spanish, so I wanted to make it even better.
yeah,
And and I was also looking towards the future. So any possible kids that I would have, I wanted them to be bilingual from the beginning, so they wouldn't have to put in the effort that I put in.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it was just like, okay, well, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. All during my 20s, though, it's just a drunken haze. I mean, I remember going to work, but I also remember spending lots of time at bars and pubs and clubs and
Sure.
parks and whatever else, just having a good time. And that was one of the reasons I came. When I graduated from college, I figured I had three options. One would to be to get a real job with my Bachelor of Arts in Spanish,
Yeah,
which probably means teaching high school Spanish, and that wasn't interesting to me.
yeah,
Going for a master's degree, but I couldn't justify spending the money on a master's degree when I was unsure what I wanted to study.
yeah.
And the third option was kind of to extend my childhood and move to Spain for a couple of years and see how that worked out. Um,
And
and I did. I,
the rest is
I
history.
spent a decade being a child. Yeah, well, I spent a decade being a child, and then our son was born 11 years ago, and that changed a lot of things for us. So, but yeah, no, now I can't imagine living life a different way. It's definitely a part of who I am now.
Definitely, definitely. And I have to say, you know, having seen you perform a lot over the years when I did live in Spain, you're a great performer, and I think your time in Spain has made you that way. Has made you into the performer that you are from living in Spain for so long.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though I can think of times as a child when I was interested in things like nonverbal communication and communication styles and things like
Yeah,
that. Learning to do that in a foreign language as an adult was also a good learning experience. And for me, stand up was just kind of like the natural extension after that. So I figured out how to communicate in my language and in another language.
yeah.
Now, can I communicate as a comedian?
Yeah, and I want to ask you more. I mean, we're going to take a break now in a moment. And incidentally, listeners, if you're joining us today on whatever platform you're joining us, I know we're going out live on Twitter and on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and all these other things that I should know about, but I don't. Wherever you're joining us from, if you want to ask Dan any questions, you can always just send a message to the station phone here. The number is +44 if you're outside of the UK, and you can drop the zero, and then it's 7852473473. And if you're in the UK, it's 07852473473. And you can ask Dan anything you like. Dan is a comedian, a host, an improviser, a TV translator, which we will get to in a while. But I want to ask you, because I know that you spent a number of years teaching when you first came to Spain. What was the
Right.
catalyst that moved you into deciding that you wanted to start doing stand-up comedy?
Yeah, that's a great little story. When my wife told me that she was pregnant, that we were pregnant,
Yeah,
I thought that my dreams all of a sudden had an expiration date.
yeah,
I felt
yeah,
like
yeah,
once my kid is born, I'm not going to be able to just be wild and young and chase my dreams. So I had to do it while she was pregnant. You know, I need to get into stand up. I need to figure out if I can do this. I need to
yeah.
see if I can be any good at it.
Nice.
And it started right from that actually.
So
We started
that was
right
the
there.
catalyst. That's a fantastic catalyst to have. I mean, I suppose it really spurred you on because you were like, right, I've got 9 months. Let's get going here.
Yeah, exactly. There was no doubt about it.
We're going to take a short break, folks. Please join us after these messages for more art and spirituality and more conversation with the wonderful Dan Feist. Please join us then.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours. Let the happiness continue on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
We're back. The Art and Spirituality Show, and we're joined, of course, by Mr. Dan Feist. Jan, you're back on air with us.
All right.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, we're just getting into the juicy stuff, into the stand-up comedy world, which is
Yeah,
all the fun things about life, the stand-up comedy world, right?
exactly. Wow. And we were asking me when I got started in it, and I think it sparked some memories of me being a teenager and a preteen, in fact,
Really?
and staying up late and watching a scrambled HBO signal of Def Comedy Jam or George Carlin and these kinds of things.
Brilliant.
And
Yeah.
and then it made me realize how long it took me to figure out that I wanted to try stand up. And it would have never happened if my wife hadn't come in pregnant, you know.
Amazing where sex can lead to, you know.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely not expected. That destination was not expected that evening. So,
what was it like on the stand-up comedy scene in Madrid? I mean, this must have been around. Was this around kind of 2009, that kind of time?
That's right. The Spanish scene was only 8 or 9 years old at that point.
Yeah.
And the comedians from Spain were very much scripted, very much traditional in their setups and their punchlines, their joke structures. They were really, like, when I say scripted, they were very afraid of going off script.
Yeah.
There was one show where the guy was telling his jokes, and part of the lighting crashed down onto the stage behind him.
Oh my God.
And he didn't even stop to comment on it. he just continued going with his script.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, so the scene here was very young, very, very young. In the UK or the US, we haven't seen that level of basic in 4 decades probably.
Sure.
Right. And so it was just warming up, but you know, there are a lot of opportunities out there. And in the English scene, well, there was a guy who organizing some professional shows. So he was bringing in professional comedians, TV comedians from the UK and Ireland, especially, but also from Australia, the United States,
Yeah.
perhaps even South Africa, the Giggling Geary.
The Gaelic
And
Fury,
once
of
a
course,
month,
yeah. Sorry, go on.
and yeah, once a month they would bring in a real big name and put on like a real proper show. And it was during these shows, well, actually after these shows, when the comedians would go and have beers with us, that I started finding out what it was, that you don't have to be some kind of special magician. Of course, you have to have some kind of talent, but
Yeah.
I was expecting them to be like superhuman, and they really weren't. They were just normal people who had a funny way of looking at things and a good way with words.
Nice.
And so that kind of it continued to inspire me, right? It went from that's an impossible goal, nobody can do that, to hey, wait a minute, let me see, I think I can pull this off.
Nice.
Um,
That's so cool to hear. And then, of course, I know that you attended a comedy course, a stand-up comedy course. Soon after
sure. Well,
that?
first, sure. Well, no, it was almost a year after that.
Okay.
For about 8 months, I was going to a small Spanish open mic and
Yeah.
tried to do comedy for the first time in my life, and in a foreign language that I didn't control very well.
What mic
Um,
was that, Dan?
That was called El Labo de la Comedia, the
The
lab, the comedy lab.
Comedy
And it
Lab.
was, yep, and it was organized by a couple of Spanish comedians who are now quite well established, and an Argentinian guy who's since gone back to his home country, but is still doing a lot of comedy stuff out there.
Yeah.
Felix, he's a good guy. And they would set that up, and I would fail miserably week after week after week after week after week. Holy shit!
Brilliant.
But it was
Brilliant.
at that. I mean, I was thinking. I think back and I go, "Am I a glutton for punishment or what? Like what? What motivated me to keep going back and trying 8 more minutes without even one reaction? Not a laugh, not a giggle, not a like."
Yeah, yeah.
The applause I got at the end was because I said goodbye. Thank God. And so I think back to that, and then about 8 months later, the Giggling Geary organized for Logan Murray to come and do a weekend session. And at the end of that session, then we had a show that we could do. They organized a show for the students, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was really good. I was so green that I didn't even understand why he was telling us to do the things he was telling us to do,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
I was so green. I just had no clue. I had no clue that low status was different than high status, that the same line delivered a different way has a completely different effect.
Sure.
And one way it's rude, and another way it can be really cute and funny. And I just didn't have any of that
Training.
experience or ideas or training or anything. I had no idea. And when I think back to the activities that we did in the course, I can now say, I get it. Now that makes sense. I felt dumb doing that, but I understand the purpose behind it now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a great course, and he's written, of course, Be a Great Stand-Up. He has a new book out now as well. A
Oh, he
new
does.
edition.
I love Be a Great Stand-Up.
It's a great book.
There's some really, really, really good tips in there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. I've talked about it before on a couple of shows, and then I've reviewed it and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it's almost like a comedy Bible for anyone who's starting out in stand-up, I think.
Absolutely. That's the one book that I would go to if I were gonna look for more information, or if I need to review what's going wrong with my set this month, because why it didn't work, what's going on. So I'll try and go back and find it there. That's a really good one. And then the only other book that I would recommend, and I wouldn't even recommend the book because the book is just one simple idea stretched out into 180 pages.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, it's I can't remember the name now, but it's basically the biology of a joke. Like what is a joke? Why does it work? And
okay.
it's a really simple concept, but he breaks it down in complicated ways so he can stretch it out into 180 pages. But basically the idea is in your setup you have a certain amount of words and ideas. Now there at some point there has to be some ambiguity. Excuse me. At some point there has to be some ambiguity in that setup. And
Yeah,
that ambiguity is what you subvert or that you say the opposite of or that you turn around. And it's that twist, it's like you're laying an egg inside somebody's brain.
yeah.
And they think it's a chicken egg, but when it hatches, it's an ostrich. And like that's what a joke is. And then he had another chapter about reverse mining a joke. And
Yeah.
this is what he's most famous for. And it is, I have the punchline. Now, how can I create a setup that works with this punchline? And I thought that was a pretty interesting concept as well.
Well,
So
we need to find out the name of this book, Dan, so that we can share it. So you'll have
sure.
to let me know about the name of that book at some point, and
Yeah,
we
let me
can.
see if I can find it while we're talking. I'll look on the break.
You can look on the next break. And I think that course it was so inspiring for you, and also for the other attendees on it, because eventually it led to the formation of something, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. As we started our own homegrown English comedy scene, really. I mean, we
Yeah,
started a group when there wasn't a group, and we found a really great venue. We had contacts with a guy who sets up language exchanges and these intercambio things,
yeah, yeah,
and he helped us get in with the manager at that venue. It was a fantastic venue, and four of us became original founding members of Ha Ha Ha, which we later changed to Freshly Comedy. And that was really an amazing part of me growing up. I was already in my 30s, but I was still growing up very much so during that period.
yeah, definitely. And of course, like you'd had 8 months kind of on the scene, trying your wares, if you like, at comedy, and as
Yeah,
you say, failing. But then you had done the course, so then you must have had, some tools in your toolbox to go out and actually write some proper jokes. So to then have, a platform to do that, it must have been such an exciting time.
no, absolutely. For us, it was we couldn't believe what was happening. I mean, I just knew that in the morning when I woke up, I had to keep pushing because this was going to happen. We're going to make this a reality.
Yeah,
What's the next step? And so week after week or day after day, it was just trying to nail down another aspect of the show and get it going. And you're right. After the course, I was better at finding material. In other words, finding subjects that I could be funny about,
yeah,
and better creation of jokes and structures and things. But really, that still wasn't the golden ticket. The golden ticket for me came maybe 3 months into Ha 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 or Freshly Comedy when I finally just let go. I stopped being so tense. I stopped trying to control everything. I stopped trying to cue the audience, and I was just being me. It was just being really natural,
yeah.
getting off the script, interacting with the audience, breaking the fourth wall. All these things that make good comedians good. You know.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, I went to a number of the Freshly Comedy shows, and they were such fun, very interactive, and yeah, as you say, breaking that fourth wall a lot, especially, of course, in the improv side of the show, which is
Sure.
essential to do so. And yeah, they were just very, very successful, very, very successful. And you ran for 9 seasons in total.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
Congratulations on
that
that.
was caused. Thanks. It caused. It gave us a lot of pleasure, right? I mean, it gave us a lot of satisfaction, and we were really really happy with it. But after 9 seasons, we were really burnt out because everything that we did was organic. I mean, we were
Yeah,
in charge of the producing, the promoting, the directing, the writing, the performing. the tech side. We we were just on top of all of it,
Yeah,
and it drains you in the long run. It's actually not a bad idea to get a tech guy or to get a manager or something. You know,
definitely. Having a tech guy is, I mean, I shout out to Harry who's doing all of the tech, all of the graphics that we have on today's show, and it's like, yeah,
kudos.
having someone to do the background stuff so you can focus on the performing, I think is
Yeah,
it's just wise. It's just wise. But in many ways, you know that because you did 9 seasons of doing it yourself. Like that's the lesson, I guess.
yeah. Well, no, the lesson is that we figured out how to work a soundboard. We figured out how to arrange the seats. We figured out how to
Yeah,
bring in more butts and put them in the chairs.
yeah,
And so we certainly have a better knowledge of the whole system than we would have if we never organized like that.
yeah.
So it was a learning experience as well, not just a not just a burnout experience.
Good. That's good to hear. Folks, we're talking to Dan Feist here, American comedian, improviser, and sometimes television translator. We're going to be talking more
Mm.
about that after the break. Please join us then. If you have any questions for Dan, you can send us a tweet at Relax Radio. You can send us a WhatsApp here at the station. We're 078 524 73473. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, we'll be right back after these messages. Please join us then.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from 99 pounds a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours, and let the happiness continue on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back. The Art and Spirituality Show. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're joined today by Dan Feist, American comedian. He's joining us via phone from Spain. Hi, Dan. You're back on air with us.
Nice to be back with you, Dom.
Hey, listen. We received a couple of questions over the break there, so I want to ask you them before we move on to talking about the next subject. If that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
So the first question is from Ivor in Dublin, and Ivor in Dublin wants to know what you think of Bill Hicks.
I think that I was too young to see him live, and I've always felt bad about that. But yeah, Bill Hicks is one of the guys that really helped me follow comedy. Like
Yeah,
before I knew I wanted to be in comedy. He was the kind of comedian I wanted to be before I even thought I wanted to be one.
brilliant.
And not so much for the rage that he sometimes would show in smaller shows,
Yeah,
but because of the subject matter. And uh, I mean, I'm totally on board with him on so many things that it's amazing. I think Bill Hicks is tops for sure.
fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you for that question, Ivor from Dublin. And the next question we have is from Guy in Yorkshire in the UK. Guy asks, "What's the worst joke he's ever told? What's the worst joke you've ever told?" Now, please keep it PG, Dan. Bear in mind, this is a daytime show.
Yeah. Wow, the worst joke I've ever told. You know, I've let on that I've been a dad for 11 years, so I've got a lot of bad dad jokes that have come out. But I figure I got a license to do it. You know,
Definitely,
my dad,
definitely.
my son loves to roll his eyes, but then when he tells a dad joke, I tell him that he's got no license. I say, hey, it's hard work being a dad, and that's why I have permission to make shitty jokes. So.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
so there's that. I've written so many pieces of garbage that I couldn't even come up with just one to tell you. If I find an old piece of scratch paper here with some really old bad jokes on it, maybe I'll come up with it. But really not. No. And actually, my writing style started to evolve. Instead of writing jokes, what I was doing is writing what I wanted to say and then adding the jokes to it.
Yeah, adding
Right,
your attitude.
kind of afterthought of the idea. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And anything, if you misinterpret something, anything can be funny, right? And so even if you're just reading a newspaper article, there are certainly things in there where you can add humor to it, right? And so that's kind of the way my style evolved is in writing. But bad jokes, too many to imagine. I would be too embarrassed probably even to tell any of them at this point.
I think
Jokes are,
I think you covered it pretty well when you said that you had the license to tell the dad jokes. I think that was a pretty
yeah, right.
like a blanket. You know, I can just say anything I want, really. Like, you know.
Exactly. No,
Fun.
absolutely. And I put in the effort, man. I've had sleepless nights, and so now I get a bonus, and that bonus is I get to tell shitty jokes. So.
Yeah, I have to ask you not to say the shit word.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For on
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I
Poor-
will get.
poor
I will.
crappy jokes.
I will get it from our producers if I don't say it. Given that you've said it a few times now, so I just need to say it.
No, that's
fine.
my third time. I'm sorry. I'll keep it clean.
I was
I'll
like,
keep it
maybe
cleaner.
maybe he won't say it again. I was like, okay, he said it 3 times. I have to say it now.
Please
No
don't.
worries, no
Please
worries.
don't.
No, it's fine. I had a different American comedian on the show a few weeks ago, and he was using the shit word as well, and I was like, dude. So it was all good. Maybe it's an American thing. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Can you say that on live radio in America?
Not exactly. No.
It's okay.
On the airwaves, I don't believe it's allowed. I don't believe.
Okay.
On
Well,
XM and other internet platforms, it's not such a big deal. But I think on the FCC radio waves, they're a little stricter.
well,
So I'll keep it clean.
radio gods, we're sorry. We apologize, and it won't happen again. Okay. So yeah, we've said our
Please forgive
piece.
Dom.
Please forgive
Yes.
me. Yeah, please forgive me for what Dan has said. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, but I wanted to ask you about about your leitmotif experiences, because I know that you've been a guest on that show. Well, you've been the translator. You've been the translator for, of course, the famous pianist James Rhodes, and you've been appearing
That's
on the
right.
show since 2016 was when you first appeared, right?
Yes, that's right. I've been on and off that show. Well, Leitmotif is the late night talk show, the most popular one with the most talented comedians on TV, right? And
Exactly.
in 2016, I got a phone call from them, and they were looking for a gringo who could come on and act as an art specialist. And then they would have someone in the background translating me.
Yeah.
And that guy happened to see phallic symbols everywhere. And he would say so aloud. So I was basically the setup guy for some pee-pee jokes.
Right.
In that first season. I went back a couple of times to do it, and it was always good fun.
Yeah.
I got the contacts because when I was at the Labo de Comedia, open mic in Spanish where I started,
Yeah.
I made a lot of really good contacts with people who were later writing for these programs. And so they gave me a call to give me a shot, and I pulled through. And the next season, they called me back and said, "We've got something to offer you."
Amazing.
James Rhodes is only learning Spanish, and he doesn't feel comfortable doing interviews only by himself. But we don't want to have one of those offstage translators like they normally have, because it just ruins all the personality of the interview. It really hurts.
Yeah.
The quality of the interaction, I think. And so they asked me if I would be interested in kind of creating a new position on TV, which is the on the sofa translator and cultural liaison.
Yeah.
As James Rhodes had only been in Spain a few months. Quite a few things, but there are a lot of things that he didn't know about TV culture, about singers, about journalists, news outlets, and things like that.
Yeah.
So anytime during the interview where he wasn't understanding a question or he didn't feel confident responding in Spanish, I was there to do direct interpretation. And then after that, there were also some things where I had to explain, oh, well, Chenoa is a pop singer. Oh, now I get the joke. And that was really nice. It was a fantastic experience for growth for me.
Yeah, must have been. How do those shows work? Are they recorded live, or how do they work?
Yeah, they do. I forget the name in English now. They do deferred live, like fake live.
Okay.
So at 8 p.m., we're recording the show, but it's treated as if live. So there's very little editing happening between 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock when it comes on.
Yeah.
Basically, they're just putting in the graphics, and everything else is just as we did it live. And even actually, while doing it live, they respect the commercial breaks. Even so, like it's
you have to sit through a Spanish commercial break, which, as we know, well, maybe the listeners in the UK probably don't know, but they're usually around 6 minutes long, aren't they?
They can be on this channel. It's only two or 2.5 minutes, and when you're on the set, you get to listen to the band play rock and roll. So that's not so bad. Yeah, they played Clapton before me one time. They played some good music.
That's cool. That's really cool. I have to say, I mean, I've watched some of your clips. I've watched some of the leitmotif clips on YouTube, and I have to say, you're so relaxed on there, and I love how you interact with the audience as well. You can really see your experience, your stage experience on there, insofar as how relaxed you are and how interactive you are with the audience.
Well, then it seems to me like I was wearing a very good mask that day, because I'm happy to project. I'm happy to project confidence and naturalness, but that was not the way I was feeling.
That's the magic. That's the magic of TV, man. It's the magic of TV,
Yeah. Well, I would be sitting in the green room and going, why did they call me? I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. Surely there's somebody who's better than me at this. Why are they calling me? I didn't trust myself, right? And I was having all these really existential doubts about what I was doing with.
How do you cope with things like that? Do you do mindset work and stuff like that? How do you cope when you get those types of thoughts in your mind?
Yeah, well, that started right from the beginning with stand-up. I never felt like I was good enough. I never identified myself as a public speaker, and so I was always super nervous. My stomach would be emptying itself out during the whole day before a performance.
Sure.
Shakiness, doubts, and everything. And so over the years doing stand-up, I learned little things, and it's mostly what you would probably call mindfulness nowadays.
Yeah.
But when I started doing it, it wasn't a buzz term or anything.
Sure.
One thing that's really helped me is I have a little list of phrases, like little short mantras that can really help me focus, right?
Yeah.
One of them comes from Aikido, which was something that I learned just a little bit as a child, but I still hold on to some of these things. And it's the idea of being centered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I choose to be centered. I don't want to be centered. I don't hope to be centered. I'm not wishing. No, I choose to be centered. I choose to have. I've done this before. I can do it again. One thing I think that changed when I started doing these mantras is that I started realizing that if my brain doesn't want to be on my team, my brain can be quiet.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
like shut
that
up
inner
or shut up
critic.
or shut up or go home kind of vibe, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You're with us or against us, okay, Mr. Inner Critic?
Yeah, big
We're not
time.
going to allow you to sabotage this anymore. And that was it. Oh, another really good thing for me was changing my perspective. Because at first I thought I didn't think. For some reason, I had the perception that the audience was my enemy
Oh no.
or my, yeah, not my enemy, but who I'm fighting up. I'm going up against them. They're my competition or something like that.
Right. Okay.
And that never worked. So I started going, wait a minute, these people went online, reserved tickets, paid for them, printed them out, waited a week, got all the way downtown, they're sitting here in the dark waiting.
Yeah, of
These
course.
people have a lot invested and they don't want to have a bad time. They want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And they're expecting to have a good time.
Yeah,
These people
100%.
want me to succeed. They want me to succeed because that means that all of the effort that they're making to get there is going to be worth it.
Definitely, definitely. I think everything is about perspective. I think everything is about perspective. It's all about how you frame things. And actually,
Sure.
speaking of perspective and how you frame things, let's talk a little bit about your not. It's not your latest venture, but it is a venture that you founded and you've been running for at least a couple of years, and that
Yeah,
is El Inglés es rock and roll. English is rock and
that's right.
roll. And yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Spanish people are notorious for not knowing how to speak English. And after 8 or 10 years of training, I realized it's because they don't use the rhythm that we use. And that way they can never really break through that barrier.
Yeah,
And so then I spent some time figuring out how I can explain to them why we don't say brother, but brother, and what the small differences are between those two,
yeah,
and how you can identify where that difference is going to be, how you can improve the rhythm of your own speaking,
yeah,
and then from there you become better at understanding other people. It's easier for you to pronounce English, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, see you later is what they do. It's very flamenco, right? So I say Spanish is flamenco and English is rock and roll.
yes,
Now, the reason
yes,
is they say, see you later, and it's all taka, 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 where in English it's rock and roll. See you later, ba, 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 ba.
okay,
And so I have a whole system. I have a whole system set up to teach them how to pronounce and understand. Have you ever been? Because Spanish people like to say, have you ever been?
yeah, true,
You know,
true.
yeah. It's a, if you go, trying to think of, have you ever been to Atlanta? There's a normal rhythm in English, and
Yeah,
I try and get them to understand why we do it that way, where we do it, and how they can get better at it. And it's really been quite successful, actually.
yeah, it's been very
The student,
successful, very, very
well,
successful.
the students who have done it now use English differently. They see English differently, and they understand it differently. And that makes me feel fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations. It sounds like you're on a mission to change the way Spanish people are learning English.
Learning it, using it, hearing it, everything. As I want to change their relationship with English. It would be ideal. It would be ideal. A dream would be to have 10 million people knowing about these techniques and using them.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And it is so true because I remember when I was learning Spanish, my Spanish teacher said, look, right now what you're doing is you're speaking Spanish with the same cadence that you speak English. And you can't do
Yep.
that. You need to change your cadence because Spanish is much more. It's much more. It has much more rhythm to it. There's a lot more. It's more
Well,
musical almost.
well, Spanish is Spanish in Spain is kind of less musical, but yeah, Spanish has some. Their sounds are almost all the same length,
Yeah,
and so any syllable will be the same. Now, if I say an apple, it's pretty clear that app is longer than am in English,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, in Spanish, none of that's never the case. In Spanish, the syllables are almost always the same length, and that is short and abrupt,
Right.
right? And so I remember that too, also from when I was learning Spanish. They were like, "Why do you say oh? It's oh." I went, "Oh, I get it now."
Oh, oh, I
Yeah,
get it
all
now.
right. It's shorter. It's shorter. It's more abrupt. It's more. It's all equal, right?
Yeah, definitely,
Um,
definitely.
and and also you have to be a lot stricter with the vowel pronunciation in Spanish. So we'll say buenas noches, and the buenas and the noches have the same s sound at the end,
Yeah,
and that's not good Spanish, right? So, but anyway, I just kind of reverse engineered what they taught me in high school and figured out how to explain it in a reasonable way to Spanish learners of English. So,
definitely, definitely, definitely. And you can follow El Ingles's rock and roll on your Twitter, of course, which is Breaking Bad English. If we have any
yeah,
Spanish listeners out there, and you're looking at cracking the English language once and for all, and learning some nice little templates so that you can understand the cadence of English, and learn how to speak rock and roll English as opposed to flamenco English, I suppose.
that's right. That's right. Thanks for saying so. Absolutely. I invite everybody to who's interested in learning English to go to my Twitter. I've got almost 10,000 followers, so help me get over that hurdle. That would be great if you could. It's Break Bad English, or Breaking Bad English is the name that you'll find at the top. So
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And you do have a YouTube as well. They can check out some YouTube videos that you have on there as well. And they can,
sure. And
yeah,
yeah, and the website also has links to all of my social media, and there's some interesting articles on there for anybody who wants to learn a little bit more about what I'm talking about.
definitely, definitely. And I know for sure that Harry has been putting up all the links of everything that we've been talking about today as well. So if you're following us
Great.
on Twitter or on YouTube or Facebook, you'll be able to click on those links as well. So there's
Fantastic.
that's totally possible. Let me ask you about your parents. Let me ask you about your parents. Were your parents artistic? Is that where you got it from, do you think? Or
Yeah. Well, when I was thinking about that one day, and I realized that um, my dad would maybe be more considered a craftsman than
yeah,
an artist.
yeah,
He liked doing woodworking, and as a dentist, he spent a lot of his time on cosmetic dentistry and things like that.
yeah,
And so, looking for quality and beauty in the same thing, that's probably as close as my family got to art. My mom was making stained glass for a while,
wow,
so
cool.
some soldering and stuff. That wasn't incredibly freehand or incredibly artistic. It was kind of following a pattern and putting the stuff out. So
Yeah,
no, I would say that they weren't. However, my twin sister was always very into art. I remember her always drawing and playing violin and doing ballet and things like
wow, I didn't
that.
know you had a twin sister. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it's just the same. It's not so different from having an older sister.
I guess, I
Um,
guess.
the one difference being that while you're still in school, is you have some similar friends and you have some of the same experiences around the same time. But otherwise, it was nothing really special. I'm afraid. I'm sorry to say that to anybody who thinks that having a twin is awesome. Of course, we're not identical. If we were identical, I don't know if there would be one of these ESP connections or not. But
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, did you ever have that thing where, like, yeah, you were thinking something and she was thinking something? You were like, I was just thinking that, or I don't know, there was like a storm or something. It was like the car is gonna fall off the
I,
cliff. I don't know, something like that.
yeah, right. No, I don't think we have. I really don't think we have. She has told me a few times that, like, oh, I had this overwhelming urge to call you today. is everything okay? And go, no, actually, it's a terrible day. So thank you for calling. So I don't know if that's a coincidence or if there is any kind of long distance communication involved in that.
Maybe there could be. Yeah, potentially. If your family member calls you when you're having a bad day, in a way, it's kind of cool because you're like, yeah, I'm having a crappy day here, and then they can be like, okay, like tell me about it, So that's maybe
Yep.
maybe a moment,
Yep. Totally.
of empathy and compassion.
Yeah. No, and so it's always good, and I don't know if it's prompted by any kind of sixth sense or not, but I don't feel that sixth sense with her.
Some sort
That's for sure.
some sort of mental medicinal sixth sense, perhaps.
Yeah.
Speak,
Exactly.
Speaking of medicinal, I know
Yeah.
that you've got a new project that you're working on. It's
Yes.
it's something quite unique, and yeah, tell us all about it.
Well, it's in some countries it's not so unique anymore.
True. It's
There are
definitely unique in
countries.
Spain, though, I think.
Exactly. Is I'm getting into CBD, so the therapeutic component of marijuana. It's found in hemp, in industrial hemp,
Yes.
and so we're setting up a multi-segment company right now. We've got a lot of progress already and a lot of money invested, and we're moving forward. We got a really big plan. We'll be doing CBD sales, both to customers and to businesses, online and with salesmen. We'll have our own brand. We're also doing that with flowers or buds. And so we're working hard on trying to get this project off the ground. I figured I haven't tried a new project in a long time, so let's do this one.
Definitely. It's always good to put your hands into something new, and I'm sure you'll add your style of creativity to it. What is the
Yes.
situation? What's the situation like at the moment with CBD products in Spain? Are they starting to hit the market more? Because we have a lot of them over here in the UK already. It's pretty popular
Yeah.
now.
Right. Well, Spain's about 5 years behind that market, I would suspect.
Okay.
And so we are starting to see products advertised in shop windows, and there's at least one TV commercial where they talk about the benefits of cannabis. And so that's great because now people are starting to figure out that it exists,
Yeah.
and they're figuring out that it has good properties, and they're finding that out from big brands, from big established brands that they already trust.
Brilliant.
So the Spanish market is 6 months to 2 years from really taking off, and I think we're at a good time right now.
Yeah, you're getting in there. You're getting in there at the right time. Then it sounds like.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Let's see how it turns out.
Well, I know that we have a link to a website. It's a temporary website, but it is a website for the company, right? So we have
Yes, that's
that
right.
link. So I'm pretty sure we're sharing that link at the moment. And if we're not, I'll
All
make
right.
sure to share it afterwards. But
Sure.
yeah, and congratulations,
Thanks a
to
lot.
you on all your
Appreciate it.
different projects.
Thanks a lot, Dom. You've been around for a lot of them, and you've always been really, really supportive. One of the best things about Dom is that he's such a positive thinker, dude. You're so nice to chat with, to be honest.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that. That's awfully nice of you.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, but it's great to have you on the show. And obviously, I lived in Spain for 15 years, and we were obviously on the scene together and stuff like that. And we did shows together, and I went to your show and you came to my show and all those types of things. So it's great to get back in contact and to touch base with you because I left Spain. I left Spain nearly 3 years ago now. So 2.5 years ago. So it's good
Time
to
flies.
time does fly. But it's good to touch base. Good to catch up. And
Likewise.
it's been brilliant to have you on the show. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for the invitation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And so we'll definitely have all your things on there. We can follow you on Break Bad English on Twitter, and
Yep.
I know that you're one of the good guys, out there. So I wish you all the best with everything
Thanks.
that you're doing.
Likewise, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
All right, Dan. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Signing off. Take care.
Bye, Dan.
Bye.
That was Dan Feist. He joined us live. On the radio. Dan Feist. He joined us live from Madrid. what an interesting guy. What an interesting guy. He's been around on the comedy scene. He started doing comedy back in 2009. That's 11 years ago. And I know that the English comedy scene now in Madrid has exploded. Something that we didn't say, but I thought it might come up in a conversation, but it didn't actually happen. But we were having a conversation when we spoke on the phone. I think it was yesterday. Actually, I was going to say 2 days ago. When we spoke on the phone, we worked. Dan made a reference. I have it written down here. Dan made a reference that, so when they started off doing comedy back in 2010, when they set up Freshly Comedy, they essentially started the English comedy scene because it didn't exist before that. There was Spanish comedy nights, but there wasn't an English comedy scene. So imagine that they started the scene there. So congratulations to them. And he was making the point that when they started the scene, there was nothing really happening for a couple of years. And then other nights started showing up. Like I started putting on nights in 2012. I remember there was another English open mic on as well around 2013 that was run by somebody else. And then 2014 was when Mad Improv started, and there was some comedy shows happening there with Joshua Saxon, who was on the show last week. He had a show running, and then 2015, there was more shows popping up. I ran some other shows with some other people. We had Mad Improv, and now if you fast forward to October 2017, Dan was telling me that in October 2017 there was 58 English theater English theater nights on in Madrid. 58 from October 2017. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And if you do go to Madrid now and you're looking for some English comedy, there's an assortment of English comedy nights on. So make sure you check out, if you're in Madrid and you're looking for some English comedy nights, make sure you check out Mad Improv. Make sure you check out, just type in English comedy into Madrid, and there's a bunch of different things going on. And yeah, great to talk to one of the founders. Great to talk to one of the founders of the English comedy scene, Mr. Dan Feist. So yeah, that was great. We're going to take a short break now, folks. We'll be right back after these messages. Please join us then for more art and spirituality.
Oh, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292. আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist, or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax radio.
Welcome back to the Art and Spirituality Show. I'm Dominic Anglim. Thank you so much for tuning in today, wherever you are in this beautiful world of ours. Let me know how you're getting on. If you are excited for Christmas, if you're excited for life right now, what are you doing? Where are you? Where are you listening to us? We'd love to hear from you. You can give us a message. You can give us a call. Our number is 078 524 73473. And thanks to our questions that we had today already from a guy in Yorkshire, I should say. And Ivor, of course, our avid listener, Ivor in Dublin. Thanks for those messages. Much appreciated. Today's show, we had Dan Feist on the show. And Dan was talking all about his latest project, which is a CBD project, which he's working on at the moment. And also his English language coaching business, which he has nearly 10,000 followers on Twitter. Make sure you tune in and check that out. That's at Break Bad English. You can follow him on there. And he's got some really interesting, I would say, language hacks on there, ways that you can hack your brain. Dan is one of these people who knows about self-actualization. He knows how to hack the brain, as he says. He knows how to, you know, uh, program his mind so that he can achieve things like this mantra that he has: I choose to be centered. The mantra that he had, that he took from his time when he did some Aikido when he was younger. Aikido, of course, is the Japanese martial art, which uses chi, which uses energy to dispel your opponent. So yeah, a very interesting guy. El Ingles as rock and roll. El Ingles as rock and roll. .com, I think, is the website. Hopefully Harry is posting about it now on the graphics. I think he is. And yeah, check it out. It's very interesting stuff. Si tenemos a alguien escuchando en español y quieren aprender inglés, es un buen sitio para aprender inglés, mucho más fácil que normal. Mucho más fácil que normal. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you check it out if we have any Spaniards listening in today. It's all about mantras, folks. It's all about mantras. It's all about the language that we use to talk. It's all about the language that we use about ourselves when we want to do things. We have to just program our mind in a way that is going to put us at ease. Program our mind in a way that's going to make us feel, that we can do things. Because if we are, if we're telling ourselves negative things, if we're telling ourselves, as you say, as Dan was saying, if we have Mr. Critic, giving it to us in the ear, we're never going to achieve anything. So we have to find a mantra that works and stick to it. I've got a great mantra that I like to use every day. In every way, I'm getting better and stronger. I like to say that mantra when I have to walk up a lot of stairs. If I'm feeling it in my legs, if I'm feeling it in my knees, which I often am when I'm walking up a staircase, I say that mantra to myself every day. I'm getting better and stronger. And it helps me to climb those last few stairs. What mantras do you use? Do you use any mantras to get you through your days? So if you do, let me know. You can send me a message, send me a tweet at me at Relax Radio. I'd love to hear from you. Another man who's very good on the mantras is the Buddhist monk that I like to read from. And this is, of course, the Pocket Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll just show this book to the camera. I like this book because it always has some really nice messages in it about some different ways that you can apply mindfulness to your life. And this is what Thich Nhat Hanh says about mantras. He says, in Buddhism, we talk about mantras. A mantra is a magic formula that, once it is uttered, can entirely change a situation, our mind, our body, or a person. But this magic formula must be spoken in a state of concentration, that is to say, a state in which body and mind are absolutely in state of unity. When you say then, in this state of being, What you say then in this state of being becomes a mantra. So, I'm going to present you four very effective mantras, not in Sanskrit or in Tibetan, but in English. The first mantra is, Dear One, I am here for you. Perhaps this evening you will try for a few minutes to practice mindful breathing in order to bring your body and mind together. You will approach the person you love, and with this mindfulness, with this concentration, you will look into his or her eyes or their eyes, and you will begin to utter this formula, Dear One, I am really here for you. You could also do this into a mirror, I feel. Yeah, if you don't have anybody that you can say it to directly, you could do it into a mirror and just say it to yourself. I think it would also work very well if you say it to yourself. Dear One, I am really here for you. You must say that with your body and with your mind at the same time, and then you will see the transformation. To be there is the first step, and recognizing the presence of the other is the second step. To love is to recognize. To be loved is to be recognized by the other. If you love someone and you continue to ignore his or her presence, this is not true love. FYI. Perhaps your intention is not to ignore this person, but the way you act, look, and speak does not manifest the desire to recognize the presence of the other. When you are loved, we wish the other to recognize our presence, and this is a very important practice. You must do whatever is necessary to be able to do this. Recognize the presence of the person you love several times a day. Several times a day, people. To attain this goal, it is necessary to practice oneness of body and mind. Practice an in breath and an out breath 3 times, 5 times, 7 times. Then you approach this person, you look at him or her or them mindfully, and with a smile, you begin to say the second mantra, Dear One, I know you are here, and it makes me very happy. It's a nice little mantra, isn't it? I know you're here, and it makes me very happy. If you practice this, if you practice in this way with a lot of concentration and mindfulness, you will see that this person will open immediately, like a flower blossoming. To be loved is to be recognized, and you can do that several times a day. It is not difficult at all, and it is a true meditation. The third mantra is used in circumstances in which the person you love is suffering. When you are when you are living mindfully, you know what is happening in your situation in the present moment. Therefore, it is easy for you to notice when the person you love is suffering. At such a time, when you go to him or her or them with your body and mind unified, with concentration, and you utter the third mantra, Dear One, I know you are suffering. This is why I'm here for you. Again, I think this would work if you say it to yourself in the mirror. Anyway, because when we are suffering, we have a strong need for the presence of the person we love. If you are suffering and the man or woman or them you love, ignores us, then we suffer more. So, what can we do right away? So, what we can do right away is to manifest our true presence to the beloved person and say the mantra with all our mindfulness. Dear One, I know you are suffering. That is why I'm here for you. Even before you actually even before you actually do something to help, the person you love is relieved. Your presence is a miracle. Your understanding of his or her or theirs pain is a miracle. And you are able to offer this aspect of your love immediately. Words of wisdom here. The fourth mantra is something difficult to practice. It has to do with a situation in which you are suffering yourself and you think that your suffering has been created by the person you love most in the world. If it had been someone else who had said that you had done, if it had been someone else who had said that you are done that to you, without a doubt, you would be suffering less. But in this case, it is the person I love most in the world who said that to me, who did that to me, and I am suffering more. I'm deeply hurt by the fact that my suffering was caused by the person I love the most. I feel like going to my room, closing the door, staying by myself, and crying. It's quite sad. I refuse to go to him or her or them to ask for help. So now it is pride that is the obstacle. I hope this is resonating with some people out there today. I know I certainly had an experience recently. It's definitely resonating with me. According to the teaching of the Buddha, in true love, there is no place for pride. If you are suffering, every time you are suffering, you must go to the person in question and you must ask him or her or them for help. This is true love. Do not let pride keep you apart. Do not let pride keep you apart. I like that. If you think your love for this person is true love, you must overcome your pride. You must always go to him or her or them. That is why I have invented this mantra for you. Practice practice so as to bring about oneness of your body and mind before going to the person to say the fourth mantra. Dear one, I am suffering. Please help. I think this is I wanted to read out all of those because I think this is the other side of mantras. The other side of mantras is, reaching out and asking for help if you are struggling out there. And I think, given that we've just gone through a second lockdown, and I'm reading a message now from my housemate who's saying something else about tier three. Okay, they've announced a tier three from Wednesday. Okay, so that's interesting. So, these are challenging times, people. These are challenging times. So make sure, if you are suffering out there, to reach out to the people that you love and get and say that mantra to them, say that mantra and get help. Get help from the people that you love. Tell people that you need to talk, tell people that you need a hug, and and reach out because we're all there for each other right now. We have to be there for each other in these unusual times. We have to reach out, be compassionate, be loving, be caring, be supportive to ourselves and to other people. That's the only way that we can be, in my opinion, and also in Thich Nhat Hanh's opinion as well. So there we go. Wednesday, well, I don't know what's going to happen on Wednesday. I guess I'm going to have my guest by phone. They were going to come to the studio, but I guess now we'll do it by phone, given that we're going into tier three on Wednesday, it seems. But yeah, on Wednesday, I'm going to have a guest who will be joining me, I guess, by phone, and it will be an Israeli actress and comedian by the name of Eden Alexander. So she's going to be joining me, I guess, by phone. So tune in on Wednesday for that. That's going to be Wednesday at 2 p.m. And we'll be talking all about art, inspiration, and we'll be talking about self actualization as well. Self actualization, which is something that I know that she believes in, and something that Dan Feist believes in, and something that I believe in, right? Anything that you want, anything that you desire, all you have to do is manifest it. All you have to do is set out the actions, and you can say, I choose to be centered. I choose to expand my chi. I choose. I choose. We all have the option. We all have the choice. We just have to make the choice ourselves. What are you manifesting right now? What are you attracting into your life? What are your goals? What are your desires? Let me know. Send me a message. 078 And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And thanks to our questions today. We seem to be receiving more questions as we speak. So yeah, thanks for our questions today from our listeners. It's been great show, great talking to Dan Feist. I'm back again on Wednesday, folks. So tune in then. Remember to be kind to yourselves first. Be kind to others. Show some compassion. Show some radical compassion for other people in these uncertain times. In these uncertain times that we're living in. Practice love. Practice patience, and practice compassion. I'm Dominic Anglim. This has been the Art and Spirituality Show, number 21. Number 21. I can't believe number 21. Where has the time gone? Oof. Where has the time gone? I want to take a moment to say a big thank you to Harry, our station technician. He came in today. He did all the wonderful graphics that you see on the show, and it wouldn't be possible. The graphics would not be possible without Harry. So big thank you to Harry for coming in today and giving up his time, giving us his energy to Relax Radio. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday at 2. Tune in Wednesday at 2 for more art and spirituality. We'll see you then. Cheers.
Relax Radio. Oh, Relax Radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন